Right then, this is a walk around video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.8 EX petrol. This car's covered 56,000 miles, comes with a full Honda service history up until the service we've literally just done on the car. It's been wonderfully well looked after. Finishes in silver, as you can see, with a contrasting black leather interior. It's a bit breezy today, so I hope you can hear me. Front of the car, very, very clean indeed. This is completely clear and intact. Bonnet itself, very, very clean. You can't see any obvious stone chips on there at all. Let's come down the near side, passenger side first. It's absolutely like a mirror on the panels there. It's a lovely sunny day. Not very good for videos, unfortunately, so I do apologise. Near side front alloy, completely unmarked. Whole work, very original, absolutely superb. No marks on there at all. Near side rear alloy, again, really good. Just a tiniest bit of curbing on the left hand side, you can see there, but it's, you know, minuscule. Coming around the back of the car, parking sensors fitted as well as rear camera on the car. Rear bumper again, very, very good indeed. And then offside, driver's side of the car, again as with the near side, it is just like a mirror on the panels. Side rear alloy, again really, really good, with just the tiniest bit of curbing on the outside edge, and the remaining panels are absolutely beautiful. Final alloy in front, again very good, with a couple of tiny little marks, but I am being really critical and sort of give no allowance for the car, its age or mileage, but it really is a fabulous looking car and it's in just beautiful condition. Right then, so parked in the shade now just to try and take some of the glare away if I can. Massive boots on these cars, and it's been kept really, really nicely back here. You do get this sort of hidden recess underneath, really clever design by Honda. So coming to the back of the car now, big wide opening rear doors, loads of rear legroom in the car, and these leather seats in the back are absolutely beautiful condition. These are family cars and quite often they can look like it, but this one doesn't look as though it's been given much use at all in the back here. So coming to the front passenger door card, all of them just look absolutely beautiful. Footwell areas all nice and clean. And front passenger seat again, I mean the leather work in this car is one of the best you'll see. So finally, driver's door card, again absolutely pristine. Again, footwell areas all really, really clean and tidy, and the driver's seat again in absolutely super condition. You know, you've got to pinch yourself to say, you remind yourself this car is actually 8 years old. So sat inside the car now, engine's running for this section, so the dashboard can be seen illuminated as I do in all my videos. Sat nav, you can see there, working absolutely perfectly. If I pop the car into reverse, you get that lovely clear gridded parking camera fitted to the car as well. But it is an absolutely stunning condition in here. And videos sometimes don't really do justice, and this is the case. Just to come up here for you, hopefully you can see 56,036 miles. No warning lights on the dashboard at all whilst the engine's running, and there is the view of what I consider to be the very best dash design in the class. It is absolutely beautiful and works just so well. Just quickly show you, owner's manual pack, locking wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. So finally, just to come under the engine bay, which is always from Honda, is beautifully presented, as in pristine condition under here as well. Brilliant engines, cam chain driven, and no belts to worry about on these cars at all. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic, and it's a 1.8 EX petrol car, a manual version, registered YY12YBT, and mileage showing is 56,030 miles. The reason we do these videos, as I say in all of them, is basically so that if anyone's looking at this car in an advert online, they actually get to see that very car in operation, and we think that's very, very important. We know that many of our customers will travel huge distances to come and see our cars, but we also know how fraught that can be with having your time wasted if there's a problem with the car. We've been on the receiving end ourselves, so we know exactly what it's like. Car can look fantastic in the photos and the description,
only to find out when you get there that it's got a fundamental problem which shows up on test drive. So that's why we do it. It's also done on part of the road test route any prospective buyer would go on. So we choose it so it's representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. Coming to the car itself, very well looked after car, and I have to say, without being a complete spoiler, it feels like it straight away because it just feels absolutely incredibly solid and tight. The engine, of course, starts absolutely instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard whatsoever, and the car's been running for nearly 2 hours now, so up to full operating temperature, and it's running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on the temperature gauge. These engines are just brilliant, because not only driving it day in and day out, you find it's just so smooth, easy on the ear. It's got a lovely mechanical refinement to it, which you get from Honda engines. Keenness and willingness to rev when it wants to do so. It's always pushed on without kind of the mechanical harshness you get with some vehicles. But also, obviously, you've got built into it the reliability and longevity which you'd expect from a Honda product. I mean, they really are beautifully engineered, these things. The engine is cam chain driven, of course. There's no cam belts to worry about, and as I said, with just normal maintenance they can last a very long time. Also, you know, these give fuel economy figures which, you know, only a few years ago would be the preserve of diesel engines. I mean, you can get, you know, I've had them before where it exceeded 50 miles per gallon relatively easily, actually, but that is obviously dependent on two things, you know, how you drive, but also where you drive, because with longer trips you tend to get better economy. Shorter trips, obviously, it suffers more, but they are very fuel efficient cars. Engine then feeds through into clutch and gearbox. Clutch in the car, absolutely perfect, as you'd expect with this mileage. Smooth, positive in the actuation, and the bite point is exactly as where it's meant to be. Gearbox, which I've always maintained, it's it's one of Honda's strengths. They've always done good gearboxes. The linkage quality, absolutely brilliant. Gear change itself feels really mechanical to use, even though, like most front-wheel drive cars, it's actually a cable to the gearbox underneath. But this, it just feels as though it's connected to a gearbox directly underneath. It's got that feel to it, and again, can feel no slack or weariness at all. Steering on the car, now up to maximum speed on the main road. Track's absolutely dead straight. There is no vibrations at all coming back to the steering wheel at this speed, or certainly any speed up to the legal limit. But it's a lovely power steering system as well. Very quick to change direction, just move the wheel, the car's going straight away. The car goes as one as well. It's got this lovely, the chassis flows with the steering beautifully. But for, you know, those who want to kind of press on, have a bit of fun in the car, it's a really nice power steering setup. And again, it just feels incredibly tight. The whole system, you know, it just doesn't feel as though it's done any miles at all. The chassis of the vehicle, again, just really very well developed. I mean, the criticism of the last generation Civic, on which this is ultimately based, was everyone loved how dynamic the car was, but it was a little bit at the expense of ride quality, where it met sort of sharp ridges. It would ride beautifully on these sort of roads until you met something with a little ridge, and then they could crash into them a bit. The way they've done the mounts for these totally changed it, because it's so smooth and forgiving by comparison. It's a very comfortable car indeed, but it's still got that agility that the previous generation was famed for. Also, whilst I'm driving the car, I'm just looking out for any kind of knocking noises coming from underneath the vehicle that shouldn't be there, of which there's nothing at all. Worth pointing out, the car will be going for an independent MOT tomorrow, so obviously all these things will be checked, just to confirm what I'm saying here. Brakes on the car, just get around the corner here, just give them a bit of a shove, but it's a really good brake pedal on the car. Looking for instant bite, and it's certainly got that, but also when you hit the brakes there shouldn't be any kind of juddering or vibrations, and there's nothing at all. They feel fantastic. Coming to the interior of the car, firstly I apologise because where I have to mount the cameras, if I knew a better way to do it I would. I know it doesn't give a great view as I'm driving along. It's far better when they have the sunroofs where I can mount them up there, so I apologise for that. But the interiors are wonderful, and it is a matter of taste, and it's a personal thing, and there'll be people who absolutely loathe it. Fortunately for us, there's many people who love it, like me. Reason I love them, first of all, it's beautifully made. I mean, this is a 8-year-old car, and I might as well be driving a new one, because there's not a squeak or rattle from the interior. They are sensationally put together cars, but also happens to be, you know, a family hatch that's actually an interesting place to sit and operate a car from. Not everybody's interested in that. Some people just want a car to get you from A to B, and it's very adept at doing that. But it also happens to be, if you're a bit of an enthusiast or a petrol head, a car that you get into, and it's got something for everybody, because it's, you know, it's functional, it works brilliantly, it's ergonomically very good indeed. You know, the most conformist part, I suppose, is this centre stack here. So you've got a lovely sat-nav system, all working perfectly, of course. Very high quality dual zone climate control system, which pumps out absolutely ice cold air, by the way. And it's currently 24 degrees outside. And obviously heated seats, all been checked and working perfectly. But it's the quality of the switch gear which is brilliant on these. It's like a high quality camcorder. It's got that lovely action damped feel to it. But my favourite part is this sweeping two-tier design, which to Honda's shame they've taken off the new generation Civics. I think it's a ludicrous idea, mostly because actually I think this works from a safety point of view. So high up you've got information display up there, so if you press things on the radio or the ventilation system, it reads it out up there as well, so you're not having to look down at the centre. But then you've got the most obvious thing, the speedo directly above, and it's just genius, because I can look way ahead of the cars, pedestrians, cyclists, whatever, but keep my eyes on my speed at all times without taking my eyes off the road for a second. It is simply brilliant. Down below that, a more conventional pod of 3 dials. You've got big rev counter in the middle, flanked by your fuel and temperature gauges. You've got a little rev prompter, gear change prompter as well, and you've got an econo offering on the car as well. So as you're driving along, basically you've got either side of the speedo up there. If you're driving, put my foot down now, it goes dark blue. As I back off the throttle, it comes back to green. And it isn't just, it is there for good reason. It does help you save fuel. It does other things as well, but it's all working exactly as intended, as is everything. You know, every button I pressed working exactly as it should. As I said, as you'd expect from Honda. As I said at the start of the video, it's only brief, but really just to show the car in operation. We've been selling these things for nearly 20 years, or more than that, to count time I worked at Honda. So if there's something fundamentally amiss with the car, I should know by now, and I can feel nothing at all. It just drives absolutely tight as a drum. As always though, if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate, do give us a call.